I'm Pastor Kelvin Page, lead pastor of the Westmore Church of God. In session 1, I laid out for you the topic and what we were going to be discussing, and that is customizing ministry to fit your church. And we talked about the importance of that, the importance of discovering the DNA of a congregation so that ministry could be shaped and designed to fit the church. It's much easier for a pastor to change and adjust than it is for 1,000 people or 500 people or even 100 people to change and adjust. And so as pastors, we should seek to design ministry to fit that congregation if we really want to do the Lord's will for that church. And it'll save us a lot of problems. Now, to do that, I shared some quick questions that we need to answer. One is asking the congregation, why are we here? Who are we? Where are we going? What has God been saying to us? What is God saying to us in the present? And what is God saying to us about the future? We talked about Revelations chapter 2 and 3, which is very important. And I think most congregations would understand this language. We need to hear what God's Spirit is saying to our church about where we're going. In chapters 2 and 3, there are 7 churches that are talked about there, and the language is consistent through all of them. We should listen to what the Spirit is saying to the church. I believe God's Spirit speaks to the church, and He speaks through leadership, and that every church has a different DNA, as Revelation chapter 2 and 3 tell us. So the question is, how do we go about finding out what that DNA is? I think there's 2 things that we really have to talk about. And we're going to talk about several things, but 2 main overarching things that I want to spend time with you about over the next few sessions. First of all, we have to discover what the gift mix is in a congregation. Every congregation has a gift mix. Every congregation has a gift mix. Some congregations may have more leadership in them than they do evangelism. Other congregations may have more evangelism in them than they do service. Every congregation has a gift mix, and perhaps there are a dominant collaboration of gifts that begin to surface, and a pastor ought to know that when he's designing ministry to fit his church. So we're going to do some unpacking of the idea of how to discover your gift mix. The second thing that we want to talk about as it relates to a congregation is not only the gift mix, but stories. Every congregation has stories. Stories that will connect to a community. Stories that will connect to a culture. And God has brought stories in the congregation. He's placed members in the body according to how it pleases Him. And if He's done that, He's brought people in with specific spiritual gifts that are there to assist that congregation in achieving its purpose. But not only in achieving its purpose from the standpoint of gifts, but achieving its purpose from the standpoint of stories and testimonies. Did you know the Bible tells us that we shall overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony? So I want to take you through a journey in the next few sessions as to how we can go about discovering what the gift mix is in a congregation and discovering what a story mix is in a congregation. And once a pastor goes through a process of discovering what those 2 issues really are and how they will impact his church, I would dare say that you cannot figure out the DNA of your congregation if you don't know the gift mix, if you don't know the story mix. And I might even talk in the last session about understanding the culture of your church. If one can put those things together, it is very easy to discover the DNA of your congregation. It's critically important that you continue to journey with me, because these issues could revolutionize your ministry and absolutely turn the local congregation that you pastor loose and point them in a direction that is healthy, that is vibrant, that is fulfilling to your people. And make no mistake about it, if you can understand the DNA of your congregation, you will fit your congregation.